I promised you guys we would do this because I know a lot of you guys were. And I'm sorry, dude. The content was just way too good from it. We've got to watch, guys. I'm also really. Please send me links. Anything you guys see. I want to watch Hassan's takes on this. I want to watch anyone else's takes. So those who don't know, first Republican debate was last night, and it's gone fucking crazy. Like, I don't know. Like, listen. I rarely go into politics. You know, listen. I'm not a full-time Hassan politics Andy, but I'm not a full-time Saikuno just playing games. Right? I've told you guys. I'm somewhere in the middle. We sometimes react to do takes. This is one of those things that like I feel like we should talk about because politics in America has gone fucking crazy.
President Trump is convicted.
Like politics has gone bonkers. And I'm gonna say this is my take, and I'm like, listen, I hate the Democrats. The Democrats fucking suck. They suck. But if you like, I think we are beyond the point where you can look at the Republican Party as like a legitimate political body. They are like, it is gone insane. They have abandoned democracy, which is ironic because it says Fox News democracy 24, right? It is insane when you listen to this.
In a court of law, would you still,
and we're starting with the take of all takes. Here we go.
Former President Trump is convicted in a court of law, would you still support him as your party's choice? Please raise your hand if you would. Just hold on. So just to be clear, Governor Chris.
I want to be really clear here. When we talk about America's, you know, if I'm like going to talk about like imperial America or like imperial United States and how we've projected our power and who the enemies of the state are, it is commonly brought up, but North Korea is always like, yeah, like they're always top of the list, man. And one of the things that people always talk about, whether it's a professor or it's an advisor or whoever else, they're always gonna be like, yo, North Korea has leaders that have built a cult of personality. The leadership of North Korea is based around creating a cult of personality around their dictators. Kim Jong-un and who was his father before him? So yeah, it is wild to me that people have not just been like the whole Trump thing is a cult of personality. Kim Jong-il, oh, okay, like it is wild to me. It is wild to me that you could ask a question that if he is found guilty, like,
you still support him as your party's choice? Please raise your hand if you would.
Like, again, we're basically saying, hey, if Trump is found guilty of like pretty egregious offenses, like, would you still support him? And it's not just the people in the crowd are cheering. That people on the stage are so happy, like, yeah, fuck yeah. Now, obviously they're doing that because they want to, like, win the appeal of the crowd. But like, that is crazy to me.
Just hold on. So just to be clear, Governor Christie, you were kind of late to the game there, but
no, I'm to this.
And I know you didn't.
Whoa. Look, here's the bottom line. Someone's got to stop normalizing this conduct. Okay? Now,
what's crazy about that statement from Christie is it's like, he's right. We do need to stop normalizing the conduct of supporting politicians who way overstep their boundaries and decorum of what it means to be the leader of the United States, which is Trump. But he's not even referring to that. He's saying we've got to stop normalizing What? Holding a leader accountable?
Whether or not you believe that the criminal charges are right or wrong, the conduct is beneath the office of President of the United States.
We have to look at the fact.
Yeah, like that, but like that's what's crazy. He's not even referring to what I want him to be. The conduct is beneath the office of President of the United States. Trump's conduct was beneath the office. He was holding on to classified documents he shouldn't fucking had. Like, it was beneath it. But like, that is so wild to me. But he's literally talking about the conduct of the investigation around it.
The fact that 3/4 of Americans don't want a rematch between Trump and Biden. And we have to face the fact that Trump
Wait, he was referring to Trump? I don't think he was. I think he's referring to... No. I don't think Christie was referring to... I think he was... Or people were just confused because they were cheering. My interpretation of it was he's referring to the, like, conduct of, like, the groups investigating Trump. He might have... For all I know, he actually was... He might have been referring to... he might have actually been referring to Trump, and it was... In which case, good job, Christie.
is the most disliked politician in America. We can't win a general election that way.
Here's the thing. This election is not about January 6th of 2021. It's about January 20th of 2025.
Blau, what he is talking about? Oh, he was talking about the conduct of Trump. I think I got confused, Trolos, because so this is the other thing, because the crowd cheers for that, but they also cheered for the people supporting Trump. Oh, so he was saying it was beneath the office of... Oh, okay. My mistake, chat.
When the next president is going to take office.
Look, Joe Biden has weakened this country at home and abroad. Now is not the time for on the...
Okay, has Joe Biden weakened the country at home and abroad? Listen, I'm not trying to be a Biden dick rider here, but I actually think the Biden presidency has like kind of stabilized the United States. I feel like we're kind of somewhat in a better position.
Job training. We don't need to bring in a rookie. We don't need to bring in people without experience. We need to bring...
Okay. I don't want to be the guy who says it, and I know like people are gonna be... I guarantee people have made this take before, and please tell Squeaks that I'm not trying to like, you know, I get compared to Ludwig, okay, but I'm just saying I'm not trying to like... Okay, Squeaks, listen, first of all, your teeth look great. Hairline's still a little rough, but man, your takes are fucking crazy, dude. Dude, Squeaks is I'm sorry. When this guy showed up, and listen, Squeaks is never going to avoid the January 6th accusations at this point, guys. Like, it's over for him.
We don't need to bring in a rookie. We don't need to bring in people without experience. We need to bring...
Mr. Ramaswamy, you would not support...
Wait, is this guy... He wants to raise the voting age to 25? This is also like a really hot take, and it'd be like super ageist and whatever, but like and again, like, you know, there's like the right to vote and stuff, and we get into all sorts of issues if you have to do like competency tests for like whether you should or should not be allowed to vote in the country, and there's also issues there. But oh, this is fucked. I'll be honest with it though. There are 14-year-olds that I think are more competent at voting than there are 80-year-olds and 90-year-olds. Like, frankly, there are 9-year-olds who are more like able to vote than some of the elderly that vote. Like, you can go pretty low in terms of age of like people that could vote that would be that like I would argue the average. We don't even say a crazy statement, but like listen, the average 14-year-old probably can make, can pass certain like if you put them on certain like tests, just basic cognitive tests, can probably do better than the average like 85-year-old. Texan Womble says cap. I mean, I've watched my own grandparents grow up, and I've now granted I have a grandpa who's, you know, now 99 years old, who is extremely sharp, still very brilliant, and can probably make better decisions than even me. But I've also watched, you know, one of my grandma who, you know, has since passed away. I mean, I would not really trust her to vote, you know, when she was when she was hitting 80, you know. I mean, I could also understand that you do a I mean, this would be no one would ever allow this, but I could understand you doing a, like, this is like an idea that I would support, but not legislation I would support, if that makes sense. The idea being that you would provide some sort of test for senior citizens after the age of maybe like 80. And if they can pass whatever that agreed upon test is, then they can vote. I support that idea. I would never support any legislation for that, because they just get fucking destroyed for that. Yeah, and I mean, any of those tests in the past are used to then specifically target groups, marginalized groups, to make it so that they can't vote. So there are questionable issues with that. So in general, that's why I said, like, the idea is interesting. Any legislation or practical implementation, I would rather practically allow younger people to vote than to limit older people to vote. I would be more okay with letting 16 and older to vote, or 15 and older to vote, than the elderly to vote.
Support an increase of funding to Ukraine.
I would not. And I think that this is disastrous, that we are protecting against an invasion across somebody else's border when we should use those same military resources to prevent across the invasion of our own southern border here in the United States.
I don't really know how I feel about, like, the Ukraine-Russian conflict is an interesting one, because at the end of the day, it's like, it's literally, I talked to you guys about this once before, chat, but like Gettysburg, like, there was a lot of foreign countries that were watching Gettysburg. It was like spectator sport for them. And then they were like basically just watching the entire American Civil War. They basically send over generals, lieutenants, etc. from Europe, would basically travel to the US to like watch the warfare conducted. And they're basically taking notes, because, you know, the Civil War was like, I think for that century, I think for the 19th century, the American Civil War was probably the largest war conducted, or was one of the largest wars, and it came at an interesting time. That is what, like, in a way, that's kind of like what the Ukraine-Russia conflict is for like 2023, is it's like, oh, okay, let's all like go and observe how warfare is conducted. Like, this is a important war that people are studying, and in a way, like, the US probably uses this war as like a proxy war to study. Again, this is for people who are wondering like where I sit politically. I probably have differing opinions from Hassan on this, on the broad topic of like American imperialism. It's not that I think American imperialism is good. Yeah, I don't think it's good, but it's all I'm always like, when I look at the 20th and 21st century, a question that commonly rings out for me is like, okay, like, if not the US being like the predominant power, then who else, right? Like, that's why, like, I would never, you know, I have to probably really think about where I would think of the role of a country like the United States in the world post World War II, because I would not support a full isolationist stance from the United States. Post World War II, for the United States to go full isolationist, I think would have been damaging to humankind. I think a world where we're full on hawks and where Saddam Hussein has weapons of mass destruction, therefore we go and invade Iraq, like that sort of giga hawkish imperialist, I also don't agree with that. Joe Walsh said the opposite of imperialism is not isolation. Agreed. But that's why I'm saying, like, I think, yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's some sort of spectrum there of pure isolationism versus like full on imperial efforts. I don't know where exactly I sit on that. And I would imagine that I would imagine I would err on the side of more responsibility fell towards the United States than, say, a commentator like Hassan would feel. You align more with Destiny's takes? I don't think I align more with Destiny's takes. I think politically, of any political commentator I have watched or seen, I probably mostly align with Hassan. I do think we probably differ on foreign policy, especially as it relates to dealing with aggressive states, dealing with aggressive NGOs, etc. We probably differ there. Anyways. I mean, I think one of the takes I kind of gave about the U.S. post World War II is I think I agreed more with the strategy, but the individual execution of the strategy was horrible.
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm going to address each of those right now. This is the false lies of a professional politician. There you have it.
Your watch, so the reality is, America less safe. You have no foreign policy experience, and it shows.
And you know what? The foreign policy experience that you all have shows in the pointless wars we've gotten into. Let us be honest as Republicans. I'm the only person on the stage who isn't.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's funny. It's like this guy kind of gets me in the first half where he's like, hey, like, we shouldn't be involved in all these pointless wars, like, you know, using our military to basically conduct, you know, training exercises or to scout out how, like, wars are conducted in the modern age is kind of fucked. And then he's like, we should instead be using our military to secure the southern border. And it's like, wait, what? Like, also, seriously, thanks to the tier 1.
Isn't bought and paid for, so I can say this. The climate change agenda is a hoax.
Hold on. I've had enough. I've had.
This is one of those where it's like listen, and I think people maybe on the left of the spectrum need to understand that there is money involved in climate change, right? Like, to be very clear, it's not a hoax, and like, dealing with climate change is not a hoax. But to think that it's like, I want people to realize that it's not as with most of these issues, things get really muddied. And do I think that there have been is there like money involved in climate change? Absolutely. Is there weird lobbying going on? Do some people benefit from like pushing, you know, the narrative that, oh, we're absolutely fucked? Like, yeah, absolutely. But like, climate change is one of those, like, yeah, sure, there's money involved. Yeah, sure, there's like some bad actors on the like climate change advocacy side. But holy shit, even if you admit those things and you look at the money that is trying to push against the climate change narrative and for the reasons that it's trying to push against it is mind-boggling. It is ridiculous. Like, the climate, it's basically this. Climate change money is like, it is pennies compared to the thousands of dollars. Oh yeah, well, not that. I mean, should say it's pennies compared to the dollars, but in reality, it's like actually pennies compared to the fucking millions, billions coming from the energy sector. Solar and wind is cheap because of federal funds. Yeah, but it's like, okay, listen, it's like, let's ignore the efficacy of certain forms of power. And for what it's worth, I think I'm pretty reasonable here when it comes to energy. I'm not like, yo, we need to just go, yo, clean energy, stop burning. Like, yeah, fossil fuels are necessary. I'm even of the opinion that like, we like, for instance, this is a hot take. If you could be like, there's probably a point in time, this is a weird hot take. There's probably a point in time where if you went back in time and I could push a button that said, hey, you stop all fossil fuels from being burnt, would this be good for humankind? And I'd actually probably be like, probably don't push that button because you're going to destroy the environment. And the way you're going to destroy the environment is you're not going to let us advance enough to develop the things to fix the environment. Because we basically got like, and again, maybe I'm wrong about this, but and I could do to be more informed, but one of my understandings is we actually kind of got past like a point of no return. And that doesn't mean just go ahead and burn more fucking fuel, but like we're actually at a point where it's like probably still need to use fossil fuels to build up our technology to the point where we can undo the damage that we've done. There's another issue around fossil fuels, which comes down to various, undeveloped countries, etc., and their need to use them, right? Cooter Brown said climate freaks, yikes. I mean, it's like one of those things where it's like, yeah, climate freaks, yikes, until we're like really fucked. And then we're like, oh, it's not really a thing that we want to risk going to like, and I told you so too, right? Develop the technology to find a new planet. No. I'm not even saying develop the technology to find a new planet. I mean, like, at the end of the day, okay, like, at the end of the day, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but one of my understandings of the state of the climate right now is we actually have to do things to fix it, if that makes sense. Like we probably have to go and do some shit to fix it. But again, I'm like, yeah, it's a more nuanced topic. There's a lot of stuff to discuss around it. Not
enough already tonight of a guy who sounds like ChatGPT standing up here.
Sick reference.
And the last person in one of these debates, Brett, who stood in the middle of the stage and said, what's a skinny guy with an odd last name doing up here, was Barack Obama, and I'm afraid we're dealing with the same type of amateur standing on stage tonight.
This is exactly why.
Okay, I get that Chris Christie is just repeating what Obama said, but and I know that Obama like kind of threw out the like strange last name, but like, are we all like not like a little uncomfortable with the whole like strange last name? Like, I don't know, like to me, and again, it sucks, but it's like isn't that the whole point of the United States, is that you can have like any fucking weird ass last name because we're a fucking country of immigrants, you know? Yeah.
Margaret Thatcher.
Why did my headphones shot? They're out of batteries. Hold on. Did I not charge them? We'll pop this on then. Okay.
Said if you want something said, ask a man. If you want something done, ask a woman. Said if you want some
amateur standing on stage tonight.
This is exactly why Margaret Thatcher said if you want something said, ask a man. If you want something done, ask a woman.
I love the sentiment, love the attitude. I think you might be with the wrong party. I don't know if that's, it's not like, hey, I don't hate the quote. I'm just kind of like, I don't know if that's like, what is this?
Who the heck is this skinny guy with a funny last name, and what the heck is he doing in the middle of... Who the heck is this skinny guy with a funny last name, and what the heck is he doing in the middle of this debate stage?
of a skinny kid with a funny name.
Listen, now that everybody's gotten their memorized, pre-prepared slogans out of the way, we can actually have a real discussion now. Who the heck is this skinny guy with a...
Bro, like, what team are you on, man? Like, what team are you on? Like, anyways, I've heard Vivek won the debate, but man, like, we got some funny shit to watch around that. Okay.
Choice.
Oh, this is the 8-minute. Where do the debates notes start from?
Standing up.
The truth.
24 presidential race heats up.
Now is not the time for on-the-job training. We don't need to bring in a rookie. We don't need to bring in people without experience.
The real choice we...
Dude, it's really wild to me that, like, isn't he like 35 or like 38? Like, I don't know. Dude, if politics is... I forgot where I saw this. We have someone said it's like a geriocracy, or like, I forgot the term used for it, but like we're literally run by like a political body that is fucking old. Like, we have bro, I would way rather lower the age limit to be president than, like, it's bizarre to me. Is it an ocracy of people named Jerry? Geriatric ocracy. There was a good word for it. Hashlinging said, I mean, you'd gain a lot of wisdom when you get older, but I think there can be a compromise. Okay. Okay, what, like, okay, I get it. Like, and I'm not trying to be ageist with this sentiment, but it's like, you gain a lot of wisdom when you get older. Counterpoint, you are completely out of touch with new technologies and cultural movements, which arguably might be more important than wisdom. You know what I mean? Gerontocracy.
Face in this primary is this. Do you want a super PAC puppet, or do you want a patriot who speaks the truth?
As the 8 Republican presidential candidates who made the cut took the debates.
I mean, I guess here's what I'm saying. When I've watched the Senate debate certain issues, I don't know if their wisdom actually helps. Like, I've watched them debate certain issues, regarding, economics or tax or stuff like that. And I can be like, well, and what's weird is they reference shit like tax policies from when they were growing up, or like old and stuff. And I'm like, wait, that doesn't even, like, I honestly sometimes feel like their wisdom isn't good, because their wisdom is referring to experiences they lived through, as opposed to referring to new data and sciences and the realities that we live in today to judge, to help make those decisions. And that's on like normal issues that they can even talk about. Then you get fucking Mark Zuckerberg in front of the Senate, and they don't know it. They're absolutely stupid. Like, they're actually just stupid. So I mean, I challenge the idea that they have some sort of wisdom in some topics and then are bad in others. I actually think, if anything, they're bad in some topics and absolutely deranged in others.
Stage for the first time.
I've had enough already tonight of a guy who sounds like ChatGPT standing up here.
This is exactly why Margaret Thatcher said, if you want something said, ask a man. If you want something done, ask a woman.
The candidate.
Yeah, I mean, the TikTok question was crazy. Does TikTok have access to the home Wi-Fi network? Like, that's insane.
It's sparring over hot button issues like climate change.
The climate change agenda is a hoax. The climate change agenda is a hoax.
First of all, yes, is climate change real? Yes, it is. But if you want to go and really change the environment, then we need to start telling China and India that they have to lower their emissions. That's where our problem is.
And
I guess. The other crazy thing about it, and again, this is one of those things where, like, forgive me, chat, I might spit here and I could just be totally wrong, but my understanding of China's climate policies is China actually does do fucking insane, has actually done some insane work around climate policies in the last decade, because, you know, and I'm not advocating for their system, I'm just observing what their system allows them to do as a single party authoritarian, you know, government. They're basically have been able to like just push incredible legislation and infrastructure projects forward for climate that the United States could never dream of doing. Like, I'm gonna keep it a buck, guys. Like, I don't know if China's the one you want to push, you know, to look for. Like, they actually have done some pretty incredible projects. I might be wrong about this, but from what I understand, and you might, and this is one of those where I would bet China is not that big of an offender relative to their size of their population or their size of the GDP. And maybe someone can pull the data on this, but I would assume when you look at effects of fossil fuel consumption or CO2 emission, you would probably want to measure it relative to size of population and GDP. Yeah, like you'd want to do per capita data, and I would bet China's not that bad. VFix said, Blau, they have a 3,000 year plus history of doing giant infrastructure projects. It ain't tied to ideology. It kind of is. Yeah, I mean, you don't like, I mean, yeah, China's done incredible infrastructure projects in ancient times, but like when we're looking at modern day, like why are they able to do some of these infrastructure projects? I mean, bro, if you want me to go down the China route and explain why, you know, part of the, you know, like part of the reason why they are effective at this is because they are a more homogenous country. Like, yeah, we could go down that whole route. So said China also fakes a lot of their progress. Yeah, I'm sure they do, but a lot of that stuff can't really fake. Anyways, continuing.
Abortion.
We must have a president of the United States who will advocate and fight for, at the minimum, a 15-week limit. I am 100% pro-life conservative.
Let's treat this.
Oh, this is a spicy topic to get into a chat. When it comes to abortion, practically you should it should just be supported by legislation. I won't like this is one of those weird things where it's like people can argue the morality, they can argue you know, from a religious standpoint, from a women's rights standpoint. I don't even want to get into all that. I'll literally just give you guys the like. Practically, you probably just want not only for it to be legal, but you probably just want good access to it. Someone said it's a personal. Listen, chat. I'm saying from a like governing standpoint. If I'm writing legislation, or if I'm governing a large body of people of diverse beliefs and any number of different things, I look at it and I'm like, well, these people have the religious moral arguments. There's scientists over here. There's women's groups over here. I look at all of it and I'm like, what's the actual practical effects on the populations when it is and isn't, when it's illegal versus it is legal, and what are the like practical applications on the like what happens to the economies, what happens to family. If I just like look at just city planning data, if I look at economic data, I'm like, oh shit, I should really make sure that this is legal and that there's good access to it. Compromise. Someone said maybe don't criminalize it, but also don't subsidize it. Should probably subsidize it. Listen, we can go down this debate and this rabbit hole, but trust me, if you look at the data around like what it does to just society in general, you probably would be in favor of subsidizing it. Anyways, moving on.
It's like a respectful issue that it is, and humanize the situation and stop demonizing the situation.
Hey, you know what? Hey, listen, not a bad thing to say, to be like a little bit more, you know, that wasn't a horrible thing to say. Someone said, your opinion? Yeah, I mean, it's an opinion, but it's like, well, let me put it to you this way. Let me put it to you this way. If you remove like the moral arguments or other stuff away from it, and you just look at the economic impact of it, you would be pro-choice and would want, like, I'm just straight like, listen, this is, and again, I understand why people can still make the moral arguments. I'm not saying that you should just ignore moral arguments. I'm saying hypothetically, if we remove moral arguments and we just look at the economics of abortion and whether you should subsidize it or not, or make it legal, have access to it and subsidize, the answer is yes to all three of those. Like, it's like that. That's not a opinion. There's just data that just shows that. Now, you could argue that cost is not worth the moral compromise. That is an argument that you can make. That's fine. But you can't argue against the economics of it.
The court of Governor Doug Burgum saying he would not support a federal abortion ban.
And the reason why we shouldn't is very simple. It's the 10th Amendment in the Constitution. In the Constitution, which the states created the federal government, not the other way around.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis attacking.
Did not know that we were going to go to a states' rights issue, which is why, bro, this is like, I'm going to be honest with you. Okay. If I was a Republican, that is exactly how I'd con people. And I'll be honest with you, chat. If I was a Republican, I would basically try to come up with good policy decisions that my constituents would back, because of some other bullshit reason. I'd be like, listen, guys, we can't federally ban abortion because of states' rights. Yeah. And then I'm like, oh, you want to ban abortion? Oh, so you're against states' rights, really? Wow, that's not very conservative of you. We should be pro states' rights, right? Like, I would basically always spin it that way. And 90% of the time, it'd come back to states' rights. Oh, you want to do this legislative policy that I know is genuinely bad for us, but I don't want to say it is because I don't want my dumbass constituents to not vote for me. States' rights, buddy. States' rights. I would be a great Republican debater. I bet you if I was on the stage, I could 100%. I could have destroyed these people in the debate. I know exactly how to appeal to the Republican base. Well, okay, but here's the key. The question is maybe the real challenge is how well could I try to get my own policy ideas across without how could I get my own policy ideas across but get my constituents to believe in them? That would be fucking hard. That would be fucking hard. Give me a topic. What would I have to convince people of? And how would I... Give me a topic, chat. Let's do this. Let's do this exercise. What topic do I have to convince them of? And... gay marriage. I'd go for it. I'd be like, listen. I don't believe in gay marriage. I don't think it should be a thing. Gay marriage is not a thing. Gays should not be allowed to marry. Flip it. Yeah. And here's why. Watch this cook. Oh my God, this is going to be crazy. Gays shouldn't be allowed to marry. And neither should the government be choosing. The government shouldn't be saying what is or isn't marriage. What the government does is not marriage. They can let the government legislate and do their, union pacts, whatever you want to call it, and let people do whatever they want with that. Marriage as a term is defined by whatever church grants marriage. It's defined by the church because marriage is an act under God, and we need to remove the government from God. That's right. Marriage is an act of God. Therefore, the churches decide if you should be married or not. But the government, they can do whatever they want with whatever legislation they want around unions. They can call it marriage, whatever. But as far as I'm concerned, if two people, a man and a man, get married in the United States by the government, they can call it marriage. But I know it's not, because I'm a man of God, and they can only get married in the church. Bam. Look, I solved it. And then I just deflect it and say that it's no true marriage. And I say that they can only get married in the church. And then Loki, I'm like, oh, fuck it. They can get all the benefits of having a marriage. What I say is a marriage by the government. They can do all that. And the government actually does go and support marriages from the government. But then I think that was actually pretty good. Come on, chat. That was like the only way I could cook that one. That one was tough. What is my other guys? Remember, my challenge is this: how do I convince people how do I get elected by Republicans while secretly pushing my own policies? Blau choice, the China shill from. Oh wait, let's see this. Trans rights is gonna be hard. Fuck. Hold on.
Donald Trump just saying.
I can't hear this.
I feel like someone could pick.
Oh, I don't have my the right audio source. Hold on.
Have you guys watched that YouTube video of Donald Trump just saying China like 700 times?
I
feel like someone could pick, literally go through the podcast, the last 5, and make one of Blastoise. Literally, China.
Someone should do that just for shits and giggles.
China.
Yeah, do it.
It's gonna
be hilarious, dude.
There's a big scene in China. China. There are a lot of games that many people probably in the chat have never heard about that are as big, if not bigger than Minecraft, on the streaming platforms or video platforms in China. That is. If you guys ever played that, and a bunch of the major media outlets where people would.
You in China, dude.
Yep. Listen. I'm telling you. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm just a 10-cent shill. Maybe I'm just a 10-cent shill.
Dude, I was right.
Okay, I was right on all my takes, though. I'm just saying, I was right on all of my takes. What's my next thing that I have to convince Republican voters of? Yeah, China's a staple on Blau debate bingo. What's my next thing I have to convince the voters of? Gun control. Fuck. Gun control's hard. Fuck. Okay, my fellow Republicans. And you guys, listen, all right, chat, you guys have to act, you guys are now Republican. You guys are Republican voters. Okay? So I need you guys to W or L in the chat if you guys are role playing as Republican voters, okay? You guys are now the Republican voters. So respond to my speech as Republican voters. No, I haven't said anything yet. We haven't started yet. Okay. First of all, I believe in the Second Amendment. I believe in the Second Amendment, and I feel like it is under attack. The Second Amendment is under attack from the left and from our own government. Because if we read the Second Amendment, we must realize that it was to create a well-regulated militia. People want to restrict what kinds of guns we can own. People want, and so you know what I'd say? You know, people want to do this. You know, this national gun register. Oh, you have to register to have a gun. You know, it has to all be documented and all of that. And you know what I say? This is where I have to do it fast before I lose the gun. I say yes so that we can get even bigger guns, even more guns. Yeah, let's register and document all the guns so that I can own even more, so that I can actually be a well-regulated militia, so that I can have armaments that are meant for a well-regulated militia. That's right. Bigger guns, more guns. Because if we can bring about a national registry for our guns, that means we can allow in the future even larger caliber weapons, even more guns for our citizens. L, what the fuck, Libcut? Did I lose them? Fuck, dude. Like, how am I supposed to do that one, chat? My vision there. Okay, I'll explain the thought process. Okay, you guys don't have to L or W as Republicans anymore. The whole plan there was like convince them that we could get even higher caliber, bigger weapons and more guns, but we would need a national registry to do it. And then once, basically, I'd push the national registry forward and then just never do anything to allow for more armaments. It's about how you said it, W. Yeah, that's why I was trying to emphasize bigger guns, more guns. I'm so happy that I'm not a first-time viewer that I just happened to stumble upon that monologue. Oh, fuck. Dude, oh my God. I actually way undercooked. I super undercooked. Someone actually had the best take in chat. The real way to do it would have been to be like, listen, I'm tired of liberals coming at us with gun violence statistics, with their talk of, oh, there's gun violence on the, when we know it's not. Oh my God. Wait, can I recook chat? Oh my God, chat. Okay. Play some music. Is there like a DMCA Star Spangled Banner? Hold on. Hold on. Okay, hold on. One sec. Okay. And then I do this. Wait, why did this not save to? Hold on, hold on. Pause. Hold on. Bro, why can't I actually get a transparent version of this? Give me a sec, give me a sec, give me a sec. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, you guys could sing, true. Why? It's not transparent though. Bro, why are none of these things like actually why are none of these actually transparent? Like, why does that happen? Oh my god, I got one. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Okay. Okay. All right, watch this cook. Okay. All right, this is take two. Blau tries to convince the Republican Party for sensible gun control by making it about minorities using guns and I don't know, limiting their access to the guns. Here we go. Okay. My fellow Americans, we need to realize the liberals keep talking about their gun statistics, their gun deaths, and we know guns are not the problem. People are the problem. Just last week, Chicago had like 6,000 murders, and New York had 5,000 murders. Bad people are getting these guns. And it has nothing to do with the socioeconomic status of these cities and years of, institutional racism that has forced, various groups to, resort to life. That's bullshit. What I'm proposing, you know what? Let's register all the guns so that we can stop the bad people from using the guns. Illegal immigrants won't be able to use guns because they would have to register. And because they're not citizens, they can't register to get the guns. So illegal citizens wouldn't be getting the guns. All of the gang members won't get the guns. And only hardworking Americans will get the guns. Damn, I just introduced a national gun registry to the United States Republican Party. I fucking popped off, dude. Tell me that wouldn't work. I think that'd work. It probably wouldn't work. It probably wouldn't work. I tried to cook though, chat. I tried to cook. All right, guys, politics session is over. Politics is over. Politics session's over.